now.
From everybody. I know.
Okay, go ahead whenever you're ready.
All right, hi everyone, I'm Sarah.
I'm Maria.
I'm Hattie.
I'm Jackie.
And welcome to our presentation. So this is a fun little rat restaurant that we put together based on the movie Ratatouille, although they're not quite related. And we're calling it Sottises, which is French for mischief, which is what a group of rats is called. So fun fact for you guys. So you are about to experience life as a rat. You are all now rats. And you're going to a rat-sized restaurant. So believe in the magic and get ready to immerse yourself in the experience.
Bonjour, amis rats. Bienvenue à Sottises.
We hope you had a safe journey here. It really is dangerous to be a rat.
Pierre heard from Marie, who heard from Jacques that you were on your way here. So we've got a table set up just for you.
We'll be your hostesses this evening. Follow us through our lovely restaurant and we'll take you to your table.
Before we head over, let's take a look at tonight's menu.
We are serving a 6-course meal this evening with our plat principal being Ratatouille. It's our signature dish. You guys have come at a great time.
You should note that each course is paired with a specific wine, and our first course is served with water.
Also, make sure to save some room for dessert, gâteau d'opera, one of my personal favorites.
If you were to become a restaurant regular, like most of our patrons, you could have even more of our best cuisine, so come back.
Now let's head to your table. We'll have to introduce you to some of our regulars.
You're way in the back. It's quieter there.
Oh, hey, Cousin Camille! Meet our newest customer. Camille is enjoying our hors d'oeuvres this evening, fresh escargot.
These smells are absolutely magnifique. And bienvenue. It's nice to meet you.
Au revoir, Camille.
Au revoir.
Looks like Tante Chloe and Uncle Louis are enjoying our passion for the night. It's salmon.
Looks really good.
Ah, voila! It looks like Romare is being served our ratatouille.
This is my favorite dish. C'est magnifique. It reminds me of the dinners my mare used to forage when I was younger.
Grandmare's on her 3rd glass of wine for the night. She always gets nostalgic after a few drinks.
And now see here. You can see the rest of the pantry from here. It's right over there. See? That's where we get the rest of our supplies. When you leave, be careful not to get caught by any wandering human chefs. They may look scary, but they're friendly.
And see here, Cousin Emile has barely touched his salad Avernais, and that's expected.
Wow, one of my favorite courses, le fromage. Don't forget to nibble on a cracker before dessert.
Oh boy, it looks like Cousin Jeff is enjoying our dessert this evening, gâteau d'opera, opera cake. It's served on one of our fanciest of platters, and it looks so good.
And oh look, we've made it to your table. Please take a seat. Let me pour you some wine. We're serving you a white wine this evening. It's one of my personal favorites, so I hope you enjoy it.
Your server will be with you shortly. Bon appetit!
We hope you enjoyed your restaurant experience, but we want to take a few moments to point out some things you might have missed.
So if you haven't noticed, this is a restaurant for rats, Ratatouille style. All of our furniture and decorations are constructed from human-sized objects that have been repurposed with new uses for rat-sized activities.
Our tables are tea boxes that have tablecloth scraps laid on top, and our chairs have matchsticks for legs, a spoon ladle back, and a cork seat. The lighting consists of several tea-light candles hung by shoelaces from the ceiling, which is the bottom shelf of a restaurant pantry in which this smaller restaurant is located.
And the rats drink out from cups that were once little thimbles, and the wine is served from previous Fireball whiskey shot bottles.
We took inspiration from the Ratatouille movie for the main basis for our concept, Rats Running a Restaurant. Beyond that, however, we created a spin-off restaurant that maybe one of Remy's cousins created, separate from the plot of the movie.
And for our 6-course meal that we walked you through in the video, we took inspiration from traditional French cuisine.
We also took inspiration from our personal restaurant experience, lunch at Le Châtelet. We took note of their unique architecture, menu display, food presentation, and restaurant decor when considering how we might repurpose items to be part of our restaurant.
And we based our meal on a traditional French fine dining, which consists of about 6 courses with wine pairings to match. The red wine goes with tomato-based meals, and the white wine goes with basically everything else.
The escargot is 1 shell served on a wine cork cut in half, you can see here. The salmon is a tiny chunk of fish with lemon chunked and served in a bottle cap. Our ratatouille is tiny slices of vegetables served in an upside-down cap lid. The cheese is several tiny chunks from a larger block served on a cracker. And the dessert is a tiny opera cake served on a garnished.
And then here we are visiting La Chatelaine, the inspiration for our restaurant.
Very quickly, we wanted to show you some of our process. Here is our menu that we planned, both in English and in French. And here's some of our process sketches and our process work, and we have a couple call-outs.
Yep. So if you noticed in the restaurant, there were a bunch of decorations on the wall. The paintings were actually rat paintings, and they were put on little lockets that would be on a necklace. They were fragments of classic French plates that were hung on the walls, and then inspired from La Chatelaine, there were little windows that were made out of twigs.
And here's what our final snapshots look like. Thanks for listening. Au revoir.
Okay, what do you think?
Great job. Flabbergasted us, I would say.
Yes, that's his A, right?
Yeah,
Flabbergasted?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can just jump in, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say the narration was key, Maria, your accent was awesome. And I don't know why, but like, for some reason I was thinking that, well, I haven't seen Ratatouille in that stuff in a while, but there was a few things I looked at, like when you were going through, that I was like, that like, doesn't look like a true designed like plate or whatever, but then it like made so much sense because you were like, no, that's a bottle cap. Like, so I just think that's so cool that you thought about those details, because like, I would have questioned that, but then you described it, so kudos to you guys.
I can tell you did it well because I'm hungry. Good job.
Yeah, it's just, I'm sorry, even your guys' like, the mouse ears and like the little, like, the tie, it just, I don't know, I appreciate it, it ties it all together. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, yeah.
Was everything?
One of you.
Go for it.
I was gonna say, like, I think making like the scale like small like a rat is like super clever, and it opened up like a lot of cool like choices. Like, I don't know, they came through like I don't know, I think so.
Did you guys do everything in Gravity Sketch?
Yeah.
Not the process sketches aren't,
Well,
but everything.
Oh, yeah, the process is.
That would be crazy.
And then we made the menu in
Oh, that was Illustrator.
Illustrator and then put it in as a.
And the pictures from the rat lockets were not
Not
made in
us.
Gravity Sketch.
Yeah, well, they were
Those
just,
were famous paintings of rats.
Yeah, I have a question. How did you guys?
Oh, I forgot we have a references slide.
Actually,
Sorry.
Yeah, a lot of references.
holy. Can you go back to the? Yeah, a couple of questions. So the table, what is that supposed to be?
It's a tea tin, a traditional French tea tin. What it says on it is the tea.
Oh, cool. How did you guys get the label to stick on?
We made it in Gravity Sketch.
But how did you get it to stick so well?
Oh, it's we just made it on a plane and then put it there and grouped them.
Oh.
Great.
What are those things hanging from the ceilings? Are those the lights? Or?
Yeah, they're little tea lights that are hanging from the
okay.
ceiling. Yeah, and then they're hung by like shoelaces. For ambient lighting.
Ben, yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. So this is, I guess, both a comment and it's a question. It's a comment. So was the intention of these circles and these different colors and things on the PowerPoint to make like the pieces of what I assume are vegetables in Ratatouille?
So I guess I can answer that because I kind of created a little VBL for our slides, like so yes, it was partially that. I chose actually a picture from Le Chatelaine to pick the colors. Like I threw it in Procreate, I made a color palette, and I picked colors. And that's why the circles are certain colors. And yeah, circles, Ratatouille, and rats, and Mickey Mouse, and a bunch of things. So yeah.
I just thought it occurred to me on one of them when I was looking at it.
Yeah, thank you for
that
noticing.
It looked like the little slices in the red.
Yeah,
and
I
was like,
appreciate
oh,
it.
that's clever. Like, I
Thank
just
you.
thought that was a really clever way to tie it together.
All right, let's take like 2 more.
I was just gonna say, you guys thought of literally everything, and I applaud you for executing it in the best way possible for us to be like taken through the whole restaurant in a slow manner, so you could fully like encapsulate what was actually like happening. So I applaud you on that.
I was just gonna say, like, the ambiance you said with like your audio and like your storytelling and your visuals and your attention to detail was just like so important, and I really applaud your dedication, like the mouse ears and like having the stars and everything, and just it looked beautiful, honestly.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I mean, I think you have a good impression here. And I would also agree, this is outstanding work. Yes, awesome. And I can call out a few things that I wrote down here. I mean, the real question is, okay, how would you build on this even further? And maybe we can leave that kind of open-ended. There are certain ways. But talking about 3D stuff, I think use of texture and a variety of your like modeling techniques. Some of them hidden, like, right, draw on a plane and then add the plane to a thing and group it together, like, awesome. I think your group, when I went through and did our check-in on Wednesday, I even asked you, like, oh man, the texture on there is looking really good. How did you do it? And you're looking at the tablecloth, I think was what it was. I also appreciate that within limitations, you're not making excuses for some of the things that are kind of like a little bit off in 3D. I think they still kind of work. The theme of your objects. So one thing that your presentation did really well was walk us through the experience, give us enough context ahead of time to understand how we were supposed to interpret the experience. You walked us through, and then you unpacked all of the elements that we may have missed, I think was, after the fact. And it let some of those things that maybe were hard to get the first time through, like, oh my God, that's a key underneath the dessert. And why is it a key? It's because rats would be using objects that are probably too small for us to think of as food implements, but are rats making their own things? I just think it allowed you to unpack a theme that was really well thought out. So I appreciate the detail on the 3D side and how you called our attention to it in the presentation. That's good. That's also the kind of stuff that I would say is obvious if you're a designer. You know why you made those decisions, but to someone who's seeing your concept for the first time, we don't know that. And just like in sketching class, I would constantly say things like, where are your notes? Tell me what we're seeing here. Like, that's really important for you all to continue to develop, right? Find a way to artfully tell us what it is you actually did, what your thought was, what are we seeing? Even when, to you, it's probably a lot like stating the obvious. Obviously, that's a key, right? So anyway, awesome. For 4D, I think the intro you gave us, oh, and again, there's some humor there too, like turn around, we got the like ears on and stuff. It worked though, because you told us we are rats now, and we're being brought through a restaurant, right? It helped frame our expectation for what the next thing was. And again, to Krusty Krab, I think had you said something similar, you'd be right there. You'd be right there. Your experience is the same level of detail, I believe. It's the presentation that can really make or break how that lands with your audience, okay? So, good. I wrote down, yeah, the sound was a nice touch, for sure. Also, like here and not but totally, it's fine, it works. Your narrative was thoughtful. And it helped answer the big 40 questions like person-to-person interaction, person-to-food interaction, person-to-environment interaction, right? You gave in a well-paced manner. Was pace, Liv, was that your word? Or someone mentioned pace, and I thought it was the right word. Was it Grace?
But I agree.
Okay, pace was the right word. Pace is the right word. Like, you gave our brains time to digest those four-dimensional things, those time-based events that help create a meal experience, right? We got to meet some family members. We got to hear a little bit about the history of you know, why wine makes someone sentimental. You gave us a chance to look outside the box and see that we're inside a shelf. So again, I'm just repeating things that you told me, but the fact that you stopped and answered those questions, it like, yeah, I'm checking off boxes. That's excellent. That's good. I just keep going here. So I think it was evident that and again, it goes back to pace, but like the script that you developed was timed out really nicely to match your narrative. And the whole thing was pretty well timed out as well. I felt like we had enough time to take in the experience. I didn't feel rushed. And I think it kind of left us wanting more. And the fact that you unpacked everything afterwards was the right thing. The last comment about like style on your presentation, whether or not this is something that came through to you through like Sebastian talking to you about presentations or something, it doesn't matter. Like the extra effort to cohesively, aesthetically tie together your presentation, it feels ready, right?
Well, Hattie's a video master.
Yeah. No, thank you.
So be it. Like, and I know there's not always time to do that for every presentation. And not all presentations need to be this elaborate to make it hit, right? To make it have that cohesion, but it's working well. So, yeah, like, again, it's good work. I guess I do want to hear, like, and maybe we've heard enough of it, but are there trials, tribulations you feel like sharing?
I was just going to say I'm glad that the presentation was worth it because Illustrator crashed on me at least 25 times. So.
Last one was really fun.
It was. We can say it was good.
Yeah.
Despite all of the trials. We got emotional support cookies.
Yes,
That was
we
really
did.
great. We got a cookie break.
Like the Gravity Sketch was crashing so much that we weren't able to take pictures inside of Gravity Sketch. So all the pictures are us casting to a computer and then taking a screenshot on the computer from there.
The video was also recorded from here, but we don't know how to do it on the cast.
It really is a functionality that like 2 weeks ago wasn't a thing that we could do, and it sounds like they turned it on, which is awesome because it is better to do the widescreen for sure.
Well, I would say that it didn't do the widescreen on ours either. I realized that looking back that it went square too.
Okay.
We had the option on Graphic Sketch to go widescreen, but it crops it. Instead of like going wider, it crops it.
It just crops the square.
So we said we didn't want to do that because we wanted more information rather than less. We
So-
were quite lucky to get through the video without glitching as
Yes.
well.
Yeah, that was,
Yeah.
we had to do a couple like practice rounds and takes to be able to get that to be as well as it did.
And with the pacing, the script came first, and we practiced the script and did the script and like heard the pacing of that, and then we did the video as someone else recited the script over it.
Okay.
So
Did you like storyboard it out at all, or was it just a word script?
Yeah, we like the beginning of it all we storyboard and then Sarah wrote out the script, so that was kind of then our second storyboard.
I mean, I guess technically you had the whole physical thing there anyway, but
Yeah.
I'm just curious.